Have you ever noticed that certain things just don't bounce back the way they used to? Maybe it's the way your knees creak after sitting too long, or how walking up the stairs leaves you a little more winded than you expected. It doesn't happen all at once. It's slow, so slow, you almost don't realize it's happening. Until one day, you wake up and think, when did I start feeling like this? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not powerless. Now, I'm not here to preach or scare anyone. I'm here to have a heart-to-heart, one-on-one, because I've been there too. That moment when your balance feels just a little off. When carrying groceries feels like lifting a sack of bricks. Or when getting up off the floor seems like a team effort, even when you're the only one in the room. The truth is, there are small habits, subtle things we do every day, that quietly chip away at our strength and mobility as we age. And after 65, it becomes even more important to pay attention. Not out of fear, but out of care. Care for your body, your independence, and your ability to do the things you love for as long as possible. In this video, I want to talk with you about 6 sneaky habits that might be draining your muscle strength and slowly stealing your mobility. They're easy to overlook, but once you see them, you can do something about them. And trust me, small changes really can make a big difference. So, let's talk about the first one. And this one surprised me when I first realized how much of an impact it had. Spending too much time sitting without breaking it up. I'm not just talking about watching TV or reading a book. Those are wonderful, restful things. But the trouble starts when sitting becomes our default. When we eat breakfast, sit down. Watch the news, sit down. Read a few chapters, sit down. And before we know it, hours have passed, and our body hasn't moved much at all. What happens is that the muscles we rely on to stand tall and move freely, our glutes, thighs, and core, start to weaken from disuse. It's the old use it or lose it idea. The body's efficient. If it thinks we don't need those muscles anymore, it starts shutting them down to save energy. Now, I'm not saying you have to bounce around the house all day, but even getting up every 30 minutes or so to stretch your legs, walk to the kitchen, or do a few gentle heel lifts can make a world of difference. I keep a glass of water by my reading chair, and every time I finish it, I get up and refill it. That little ritual helps me keep moving throughout the day, without thinking of it as exercise. It's just being kind to my body. The second habit is one that's more common than people think, and it hides under the label of being careful. I'm talking about avoiding stairs and uneven terrain out of fear of falling. Now look, I understand why we do it. Falls are scary. They're serious. But here's the thing. When we stop challenging our balance and leg strength in small, safe ways, we start to lose the very strength and coordination we need to prevent those falls in the first place. I remember a time when I started to avoid the back steps to my garden. Just a few uneven stone steps, but they made me nervous. I started walking the long way around the house instead. At first, it felt smart, like I was protecting myself. But after a few months, I realized I'd stopped bending my knees as much. My hips felt tighter, and my confidence had shrunk. So I started practicing again, slowly, carefully, holding onto the rail when I needed to. And wouldn't you know, it got easier. My legs felt stronger. I didn't feel so wobbly. That's what I want for you too. I'm not saying you need to go hike a mountain, but maybe instead of avoiding a few stairs, you take them slowly and with awareness. Maybe you try standing on one foot for a few seconds at the counter while you wait for the kettle to boil. Those little challenges, they build you up. They don't tear you down. Now the third habit is something I see all the time, and I've been guilty of it too. It's rushing through movements, especially getting up or down, without engaging our muscles properly. What I mean is, sometimes we use momentum instead of strength. We lean forward too fast to stand up from a chair, or we drop into a seat without controlling the movement. It might not seem like a big deal, but over time, it teaches our body to skip the muscle work. And that's how we lose power in the legs and core. One simple thing that helped me was changing how I stand up from a chair. Instead of just pushing up with my arms or using speed, I pause for a moment, plant my feet firmly, and really use my legs and core to rise. It takes maybe a second longer, but it makes all the difference. Every time I do it, it's like a mini workout, just enough to keep those muscles active. And that's the key with all of this. It doesn't take a gym or a trainer or an hour of sweat. It takes awareness. Gentle consistency, a little patience. Your muscles are still there, even if they feel weaker than they used to. They're just waiting for a reason to come back to life. So if any of this is striking a chord, don't feel discouraged. That little ache in your hip, the stiffness in the morning, the hesitation before stepping off a curb, those are signals. Not of failure, but of opportunity. A chance to step in and say, okay, I hear you. Let's start moving again. Now that we've talked about how sitting too long, avoiding movement challenges, and rushing through everyday motions can all work against your strength and balance, let's talk about something that often gets overlooked, but has a bigger impact than most people realize. Not eating enough protein. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I'm not trying to build bodybuilder muscles. I eat pretty well already, and that may be true. But here's the catch: after 65, your body processes protein less efficiently than it used to. So even if you're eating the same way you did 20 years ago, it might not be enough anymore to maintain the muscle you've got. See, your muscles need a steady supply of protein to stay strong and repair themselves, especially if you're active, or even just trying to stay active. But the appetite changes. We eat smaller portions. We snack more. And sometimes the things we're eating, toast, crackers, fruit, tea, they're easy and comforting, but they don't have much protein at all. When that happens day after day, the body quietly starts breaking down muscle tissue for energy. And because it happens so gradually, it's easy to miss, until one day lifting a laundry basket feels twice as heavy, or getting out of the car takes more effort than it should. The good news? It's fixable. You don't have to overhaul your diet, you just need to make sure you're getting a good source of protein with each meal. That might mean an egg or two with breakfast, a piece of grilled chicken or fish at lunch, or even adding a scoop of protein powder to a smoothie. I've even found a handful of almonds or a piece of cheese as a snack does wonders for keeping my energy up and muscles fueled. And don't forget, the timing matters too. Your body benefits more when you spread protein out during the day, rather than eating most of it at dinner. Think of it like watering a plant. You don't dump a gallon on it once a day and hope for the best. You give it a little bit at a time so it can really soak it in. Now, speaking of nourishment, there's another habit that sneaks in without us realizing it, and that's not drinking enough water. I know, we've all heard drink more water 1,000 times. But hear me out. As we age, our sense of thirst dulls. So we're often already dehydrated before we even feel thirsty. And here's why that matters for your muscles and mobility. When you're dehydrated, your muscles become stiff and less flexible. Cramps can sneak in more often. Your balance gets worse. Even your energy takes a dip. It's like trying to drive a car on a dry engine. Everything just moves slower and less smoothly. I used to think I was drinking enough because I'd have my morning coffee and maybe a glass with lunch. But once I started being more intentional, keeping a water bottle nearby, adding lemon for flavor, or sipping herbal tea throughout the day, I started noticing the difference. My joints felt less creaky. My walks felt lighter. Even getting up in the morning felt less of a struggle. And here's a tip I love. Drink a full glass of water first thing when you wake up. Not only does it help with digestion and focus, it gets your muscles and joints ready to move. Now, let's shift to something that's more about how we move than what we eat or drink. And that's avoiding resistance or strength exercises because they feel too hard or aren't for people our age. This one really breaks my heart because somewhere along the way, a lot of us got the message that strength training is only for younger people or that it's dangerous for older bodies. But that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, strength training might just be more important after 65 than ever before. We lose muscle naturally with age, it's called sarcopenia, and it can start as early as our 40s. But after 65, it speeds up unless we actively fight it. And I don't mean lifting heavy weights or joining a gym. I'm talking about simple, low-impact movements that tell your body, hey, I still use these muscles. Don't let them go. That could be using a resistance band to do arm curls while watching TV. It could be doing a few sit-to-stands from a chair, just like we talked about earlier. Even holding a soup can in each hand while walking around the kitchen can count. The key is to challenge your muscles just enough that they stay alive and responsive. You'd be amazed what just a few minutes a day can do. I remember when I started doing 5 simple leg lifts while brushing my teeth each morning. I didn't expect much, but after a few weeks, my balance got better. I felt more confident stepping off curbs. It was such a small habit, but it had a big payoff. And here's something else, your muscles are always capable of getting stronger, no matter your age. There are folks in their 80s and 90s who start resistance training for the first time and see real, measurable improvements in just a few months. Your body doesn't care how old you are, it just responds to what you give it. So if strength training feels intimidating, start tiny. Find one move you like. Do it for a few days. Then build from there. There's no rush and no competition. Just you, supporting your body in a way it absolutely deserves. And don't forget, staying strong isn't about vanity. It's about being able to get up from the floor if you drop something. Carrying your groceries without hurting your back. Lifting your grandchild or tending to your garden with joy instead of fear. Strength gives you freedom, and you deserve all the freedom life has to offer. One more habit I want to talk about, and this is a big one, is sitting too much. Now, don't get me wrong, rest is important. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a cozy chair and a good book or a favorite show. But when sitting becomes the default position for most of the day, day after day, it takes a quiet but serious toll on your muscles, your joints, and even your independence. Think about it this way, your body is designed to move. Even gentle, slow movement keeps everything circulating, your blood, your energy, your flexibility. But when we sit for long stretches, especially without breaks, the muscles in your legs, hips, and back start to weaken. Your posture can change. And worst of all, it becomes harder to stand up straight or move confidently when you do need to get going. And I know how easy it is to fall into this routine, especially if you've got aches or stiffness. Sometimes, the less we move, the more it feels like we can't move, but that's the trap. The stiffness isn't a reason to stop moving. It's actually a signal from your body saying, I need more movement. So what can you do? You don't have to be on your feet all day. Just build in short movement breaks. Stand up and stretch every 30 minutes, even if just for a minute. Walk around the house during commercials. Do a few arm circles or gentle squats while you wait for the kettle to boil. It all adds up, and your body notices. One thing that helped me was setting a little reminder on my phone. Every 45 minutes or so, it dings and I just stand, stretch, maybe march in place a little. It's simple, but I tell you, my back hurts less, my legs feel stronger, and I don't get that sluggish, heavy feeling as much anymore. Another trick. Put what you use often just a little out of reach. That way you have to get up to grab it. Whether it's the remote, a book, or your water bottle. Those small extra steps throughout the day really do keep your body engaged. Now, the last habit I want to touch on might surprise you, and that's not getting enough sleep. You might not think sleep has much to do with muscle and mobility, but it absolutely does. Sleep is when your body repairs. It's when your muscles rebuild, your joints recover, and your energy resets. And as we get older, sleep can get a little trickier. Waking up more often in the night, having trouble falling asleep, or feeling less rested in the morning. But that doesn't mean we should accept poor sleep as the new normal. When your sleep suffers, your balance can be off the next day. Your reaction time slows. Your joints may feel more sensitive, and your motivation to move drops. It becomes a cycle. Bad sleep leads to less movement, which leads to even worse sleep. But the opposite is also true. Better sleep leads to better energy and more confidence to move. So what helps? For me, a consistent evening routine made a big difference. I turn off bright screens about an hour before bed. I do some light stretching to relax my body. And sometimes, I'll sip a little chamomile tea or listen to soft music to help quiet my mind. Nothing fancy, just signals to my body that it's time to rest. Also, make your sleep space as comfortable and peaceful as possible. Dim lights, cozy pillow, maybe a fan or soft white noise. It's not just about quantity, it's about quality too. Your muscles will thank you for it, I promise. Now, I want to leave you with this. Avoiding these habits isn't about being perfect. It's not about feeling guilty for enjoying a quiet day or treating yourself to a nap. It's about being aware, paying attention to how your daily choices affect your body, your energy, your confidence. You don't have to tackle everything at once. Pick one small thing. Maybe today you drink a little more water. Tomorrow you stand up and stretch during your favorite show. The next day you add a bit more protein to breakfast. Little shifts over time become lasting change. And here's the best part. Your body is always listening. It doesn't matter if you're 66 or 96. It's never too late to give your muscles and joints a little more love. They're waiting to respond. They're capable of so much more than we often give them credit for. You've made it this far. You've lived, loved, worked, and walked through more seasons of life than most people can imagine. You deserve to feel strong. You deserve to feel steady. And you absolutely deserve to enjoy the freedom that movement brings. So, if this message spoke to you, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear how you're supporting your body these days. Whether it's a favorite exercise, a go-to meal, or something new you're trying, we're all in this together, and your story might just inspire someone else. And if this video gave you something useful, give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. We've got plenty more tips and encouragement coming your way, because no matter what age you are, there's always room to grow stronger, feel better, and enjoy life just a little more each day. Here's to living your best life, one step, one stretch, one strong choice at a time.